Purchasing food for long-term storage has become a nationwide trend, and for a good reason. With shelf lives close to 25 years, the survival foods we are about to show you are the ultimate game changer. The FEMA recommends a 14-day supply. But why stop there when you can truly take control of your future? Remember rushing to the store during the COVID pandemic, only to find limited stock and chaos? Picture a world where you're in control, where you can face any emergency head-on, with confidence and without compromising on taste. Join us on a journey to discover the best, most delicious, and smartest ways to build your long-term food storage. Let's start off with our first list of long-lasting food items that you must stockpile. 1. Rice. White, wild, jasmine, and basmati rice all have an infinite shelf life. Brown rice can only be stored for 12 months. Rice is one of the cheapest foods on this list too. While rice isn't exactly nutrient-rich, it is a good source of calories and carbohydrates. Rice is also advantageous because it takes much less preparation than other ingredients on this list. 2. Soft grains such as flour, rye, and oats can last for years at a time. Keep in mind that most flour and oats can be stored in the freezer for longer shelf life. Even grains such as noodles have a shelf life of 1 year or more. 3. Beans. Beans are packed with valuable nutrients. Beans are a great source of fiber and protein. The best part about beans is that they have an incredible shelf life. Dried packaged beans have an indefinite shelf life. Canned beans are much easier to deal with in a prepping scenario, or any scenario, but they only last up to 2 years. 4. Canned and dry meat. Believe it or not, canned meats last longer than their vegetable and fruit counterparts. Canned meats can last up to 5 years. Canned Spam, canned chicken, and canned tuna are all solid options for storing valuable protein. These may not be your first meal choice, but in a disaster scenario, they will be helpful. Beef jerky can also last for 2 years or more. 5. Canned vegetables. Either buying cans of vegetables or canning them yourself is an excellent way to store nutrients that will last a long time. Canned vegetables and meats are under a vacuum so they can be preserved much longer. 6. Olive oil or coconut oils are a good source of fat that will not go rancid for up to 2 years. 7. Natural honey. Real honey lasts indefinitely. This can be a great way to get some sweetness in the meals you cook. Honey will crystallize over time, but it never actually goes bad. Advantages to buying true survival food. One of the best ways to make your own survival food is by simply buying the right food items as seen in our list. The advantage of buying true survival food from companies like Mountain House or Thrive is that you can purchase many years' worth of food that you can store away and forget about. As stated before, the shelf life of properly freeze-dried food is up to 25 years. If you are considering purchasing a year or more of long-term food storage, you should look into getting a freeze dryer. Freeze-drying your own food. The biggest hurdle to freeze-drying your own food is the price of a unit. The cheapest freeze dryer costs $1,995. However, if you consider the cost of purchasing freeze-dried food, it would be cheaper in the long run to do it yourself. The best freeze dryer is from Harvest Right. We've tested it out and have had great results. DIY freeze drying is superior to other food preservation methods like dehydration because it preserves the nutritional value of the food. Freeze drying is a great way to store crops that you grow even if you do not consider yourself a prepper. Fruits like strawberries and blueberries make excellent snacks. If you can afford to purchase a freeze dryer, it is by far the most efficient way to store food for long-term use. Freeze-dried foods can be stored without the use of chemicals and don't need to be refrigerated. Here is our list of the best-tasting freeze-dried foods. 1. Fruit. Strawberries, blueberries, bananas all retain their structure and taste. You don't have to add water to them to eat them again. 2. Vegetables. You can turn spinach or kale into a nice green chip. You can also extend the shelf life of other vegetables like broccoli by freeze-drying them. 3. Eggs. You can also freeze-dry eggs and you'll be surprised by the results. The best way to handle freeze-dried eggs is to grind them up into a powder that you can add water to later and cook. 4. Meat is one of the best items to freeze-dry. If you want to freeze-dry raw meat, you can later add water to it and cook it. If you freeze-dry meat that's already cooked, you can simply add water to it afterward and eat it as it is. 5. Ice cream. You can actually freeze dry ice cream. The problem with storing regular ice cream is that dairy has a short shelf life. When it's freeze-dried, however, It can be stored for many years and eaten as a nice, puffy dessert. Canning your own food. Canning, a time-honored method, empowers you to extend the lifespan of your favorite vegetables and meats, ensuring they stay fresh for years. Unlike costly home freeze-drying, canning offers an affordable way to preserve food in the comfort of your home. If you're serious about long-term food storage, canning is a must. Dating back centuries, canning has been a lifesaver, preventing food waste during abundant harvests. It's not just limited to homegrown produce. You can also seize the opportunity to purchase surplus food from your local grocery store for canning, unlocking a world of long-lasting, delicious possibilities. Our list of best foods for canning are 1. Jams and jellies. They have lots of sugar, but they also have a low risk of botulism. It's important to sterilize home equipment according to directions from the FDA. Never consume stored food whose seal has been broken. This is when the lid pops when the can is pressed in middle. 2. Pickles. You can literally pickle almost any vegetable and some fruits. The high acid content from the vinegar with the vacuum keeps the food preserved. There's a whole world of delicious flavors to discover. 3. Probiotic fermented foods. This is different from the traditional vacuum wet pack. Fermenting cabbage like sauerkraut or milk products like yogurt or kefir adds a whole new dimension to nutrition and taste. Lactofermentation is still anaerobic, but the high salt content and lactic acid development will not permit botulinum to grow. It is a well-documented method to better gut health. We appreciate if you could like and subscribe Pressure Canning. Pressure canning is for low-acid foods. This includes meats and vegetables. Some cheaper pressure canners have poorly constructed gaskets that fail or dry rot after a season or two. The All-American Pressure Canner has high-quality steel construction and will not rot. It is the only pressure canner that forms a metal-to-metal seal, eliminating the need for lid gasket replacement. We have had ours for years. Pressure canners come with instructions specific for their design, and the instructions should not be deviated from. If you're looking for long-term food storage, it's normally pretty easy to just buy what you need and move on with your life, but sometimes purchasing long-term food storage is just not an option. Luckily, it's very easy to make your own survival food with supplies from any grocery store. It's also very fun to can and freeze-dry your own food any time of the year. If you watch this video till the end, you might also enjoy watching one of the videos shown above. Stay safe and stay prepared, my fellow citizens.